we're already used to tailgating. We're already used to going out there to the stadium. Nothing's going to really change with our experience leading up to the game and actually where we're going. When we get in there, what are some of the things that you would like to see? I personally want just more space. I'm kind of on this whole thing with the kind of taking down the season tickets. The concourses are so crowded. If you happen to be late to your seat and it's kickoff, you're running, you're not trying to hit anybody, and people, I mean, it's crammed in there. Like, there's no other way to say it. It's crammed. I'm on the 100 level right on the scoreboard end zone side, and it's just, everything's tight. It's tight to get to the bathroom. It's tight to try to get to the concession. Everything is just crammed. I'm ready for that, and I would love if you could try to keep me a little bit less wet or cold. I don't know really how the whole architecture could be built to do that since it's open air, but can you keep me dry? I think that's really one of the only things I would even care about. The perfection in the park changed my life, so I'll never complain about being cold at a Bills game ever again. So it's all good.
Right? I got through that game; it was negative degrees.
Exactly. I can do anything. I've got my badge.
The double-digit cocktails in the 30 and the blowout victory helped that too.
It sure did. It sure did. What do you think? What do you want to see in the stadium, DT?
Yeah, I'll go off that. I definitely agree. It needs to be, a little more spaced out, a little wider concourses for sure. It's a mess. It's literally, if you're there any busy time, you're in a crowded bar. It's jam packed shoulder to shoulder. That definitely needs to be spread out. For just the free flowing of, in and out of there and the whole deal. Kind of some of the things I was looking at, like the Tottenham stadium and all these other stadiums that this company has kind of put together. That's a decent look. I mean, it looks pretty cool. And it seems like that you would be there would be no elements. Obviously there's still going to be the temperature.
Right.
But it's basically a dome without the very top of the dome.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at Tottenham now, and it reminds me a little bit of Miami.
It's all one deal. The sides go up. It's all part of one part. So
correct.
That would also mean then the concourses and whatnot would be enclosed. It'd be like you're inside.
Which equals warmer in the winter, or out of the rain when it's raining against the Titans or something.
Yep. And and with that, it's like kind of I think of it like your sunroof on your car, right? Mm-hmm. You pop that open, you're driving. Even if it's cold out, you're not going to feel it. Obviously some rain and stuff's going to get in there,
right?
But if you can keep the wind was the worst part.
Oh, it sure was.
The rain, whatever, the snow, whatever. The wind is obviously the worst.
Yeah.
So if that, kind of build it.
Or wind and rain. How about that?
That's on GR about how, the soccer stadiums are a little more flat across, but then we would have to obviously account for snow. So we'd have to make some sort of peak, to get that snow off.
Right.
So, and in a way, I kind of like envisioning in my head like a Seattle, how it kind of comes to a point, but then kind of just closing it in all directions. So I think it'll look cool. Some amenities I like when I've just been to other stadiums, around the league, and some cool things are like there needs to be like a focal point of the stadium. There needs to be a
central station.
This is the part of the stadium where it goes, where you put the Lombardis, where this is the centerpiece of the stadium, and the stadium now doesn't have anything like that. It's just the same circle all the way around, So I
kind of like maybe like Green Bay, you mean, like with their little title town and like the little museum, or
there's like a section where it's like the centerpiece. You can go and
hang out, mingle.
Possibly like a standing room only.
Yep, hang out, mingle. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, hang out, mingle. Have a little like a central piece that is like in Pittsburgh. They have down the. I mean, obviously they have Lombardi. You need Lombardis to do something, but
yeah.
The Lombardis are in the pillars, and it's like in this kind of this like village. It's like its own little city inside the stadium,
right?
And not just concessions, but just an area of like a central point.
And that's where you'd put up all your old bills from the '90s and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You could do all that stuff. Absolutely.
Definitely. I'd like maybe some not just. Add some things into it. It doesn't have to be, obviously, if you're not getting the dome, you're not going to be having other things in there. Like people were talking about, you have Final Fours and concerts, blah, blah, blah. That stuff probably isn't coming to Buffalo anyway. Let's be honest, right?
Absolutely.
So, but I think there should still be something extra other than just your football stadium. Maybe
like a restaurant or like Jerry World where you got a steakhouse in there. Okay.
Yeah, something along those lines where it's like a little different, and you can go there obviously for the football game, but you could also go there on a night, use a nice date night. You go to the nice restaurant in the stadium. It'd be kind of cool, I think. Throw a couple hotel rooms in there, something like that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, could you imagine if you take your son to his first game and you stayed at the stadium that night, the night before? That would be really cool.
That'd be amazing, right? So, and I think they're going to get there. They obviously are doing the research and keeping up. I'm a little concerned because, they really talked up the facelift a few years ago. Oh, we're going to get this state-of-the-art. We're going to get it nice. We're going to widen the concourse. We're going to get it. And they really – what did they do even? I forget.
It was $140 million, I do believe, or a little bit more than that, and it was more. It was cosmetic. A lot of it was cosmetic, and a lot was widening the concourses. They did get a little bit wider than it was when I was, a teenager or something like that. But but it she's an old girl. She's ready to lay down. You know what I mean? Like she served her purpose. You know what I mean? I think that the time has run out on it. And again, that structural write-up that they had about a year ago was pretty damning in respects to the fact that it won't last. So because it's not going to last, we do need to do something. So as we wrap up, you touched on something that I wanted to touch on, and you stole my thunder. The traditions. When I thought about the stadium, and I literally told my middle son this today on the way to soccer practice, I said, the Bills signed an agreement yesterday, and they're going to be in Buffalo for the next 30 years. And I don't think it quite hit him, but it definitely hit me yesterday, was that whole season ticket, the whole passing down, the whole the tradition. I became a Bills fan because of my father. Now, he wasn't a season ticket holder, but we watched the Bills every single Sunday. I listened to them on the way home from church and then jumped in the house and ran in there and turned the game on the TV when we got home. So the Bills mean family to me. The Bills mean something to me. And that's going to be pretty special, to be honest. Like I'm going to jump at the opportunity to get my ticket and figure out where I want to sit and figure out if I want to try to pretend that I'm in my exact spot that I was in right now at the Ralph and maybe go back to the end zone. Like I love it down there. I love the vantage point of seeing the entire field. It's just a big tradition to me. I love the fact of tailgating and going out there and having a plan, and you get stuff to eat, and I can't wait for my kids to get older where they can actually go and partake with me in a game. They're too young to go now, in my opinion. So I don't, I drive up, 650 miles. So I'm not taking them out of school to go to the game. But as they get older, you're damn right. Daddy's we're playing hooky on Friday and we're going up for the game, and then we'll be back on Monday. Like, I can't wait for that. So, I know a lot of fathers feel that way, and uncles and mothers. And can you speak to it again? How long have you been going to Bills games? For those of you who don't know, Adam and I again met on a Bills weekend at a bar on Allen Street, and then saw each other the very next morning at the same tailgate in the grass lots. And we've been friends ever since. How long have you been going to games, man? Like, are you excited about the Bills here for the next 35 years? I definitely could see myself still going. May not be a season ticket holder after Super Bowl, but I'm still going to be there.
100%. And I can definitely speak on that as well. It was my grandfather, growing up, he was, diehard Bills fan, had season tickets since I could remember. And I started, I was probably, to be honest, too young to be going to these games. But this is before, the social media and everything, obviously. So nobody really knew what it was like, I just thought it was normal. I'd go there and see it, and that's just how it was.
Yep,
right?
fights and guys falling over.
But yeah, since I was, I think I went to my first game at 7 or 8 years old with my grandfather, and that was like tradition. It was something to look forward to. I remember sitting in the stadium, and he was in section 113. It's tunnel end zone, row 22, seats 19 and 20.
Look at that. And it's so funny. You could just call off the number, because I could do the same thing, 104, 14, 24, 14, 15. Yep.
I remember as a kid just sitting in there and watching, just watching the clock and just hoping, like it wouldn't tick. I wanted to stay in that stadium as long as I could. As long as I could as a kid. I was like, I would look up and there'd be 12 minutes left in the second quarter, and I'd be excited. We still got 3 quarters left, you know, like let's go. Like, and I loved it. And not to say I don't, it's loving now, but obviously I go a lot more now. I go to every game now as opposed to just a couple when I was younger. And I still get that when I pop out of the car into that grass lot with, just get that brisk fall there and look at that stadium and
no place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be.
And it gets me in. And, it will be a little different, obviously, going to a different stadium, but it's in the same place, same deal, so I'm sure it'll have the same vibe. And, it'll be exciting to kind of keep up with the Joneses, get into something a little newer, get into something a little nicer. And, hey, our quarterback's better than everybody. Now is our stadium up there with everybody, too. So I'm definitely looking forward to that tradition as well. I can't wait, as it was kind of passed on to me. I will, genuinely look forward to passing it down, and when I have kids of my own and showing them the whole experience. And it'll probably be a little different than my first couple times, and probably say the same for you. And
absolutely.
But, with this new stadium will also come maybe I feel like we'll be a similar identity, but
they'll create some new traditions. There'll be some new court.
Things up a little
bit, there'll be some new traditions that you make.
There's going to be less people. There's going to be so I don't think it's going to be as raw as it is now. But I still think it will have the taste that we grew to love as, going to these games. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining me tonight, Adam. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. And as always, just stay in the moment, Bills fans. Enjoy it. We don't need to complain and argue back and forth. It's done. It's over. This is it. Just like the OT rule just changed today. It's done. It's over. We don't have to debate different scenarios. That's what it is. This is what it is. We want the Buffalo Bills here. We love our team. Rightfully so, and I can't wait for a Super Bowl. Hope we can get one in the route. To be honest with, that would really be sweet before we move over to the new one, and that would be the icing on the cake.
They originally said 2026, right?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at.
So a 3-year build. We probably got a year of financing, and
yeah, they said there could be a hole in the ground as early as next spring or something like that. So maybe it starts up next year.
3-year build. I mean, damn. Hope you have one by then,
right? Yeah, that's a conversation for another podcast for sure. But you don't get me riled up, man. I can't wait. Von Miller, all the free agency. Don't get me started, man. We'll have to. That's a whole nother podcast. All right, man. Well, thank you for joining me. As always, stay in the moment, Bills fans. And as always, these were my Bills thoughts said out loud.